Hey, this is Pops. Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Kind of the best adaptation of Batman. I mean, this one is kind of the best example of adding to the lore and the mythology without messing it all up, right? So we have sort of the backstory and a flashback within the movie that kind of elaborates on him learning to be Batman and taking on this iconic bat imagery in the middle of this emotional conflicting relationship struggle that he's having. Anyway, so the Phantasm itself is just another villain, and we're gonna have to see Batman defeat the villain. But what's interesting is exactly what Hollywood keeps trying to do. They keep trying to give him a personal relationship, a romantic relationship, a reason to not be Batman. But what this movie does well is it sets all of that up, and then it puts him right back to where he needs to be on why he can't stop being Batman. It is about his parents, the trauma, the promise I made, I can't do it. You would want me to be happy, those kinds of things. He's constantly torn, and then through fate, it works out in a way that he becomes Batman. And I love the fact that there's a shot, and we're going to touch on the trailer briefly, but if you've never seen this, when you see him put on the Bat costume, you don't see the initial look right away. You see Alfred's reaction, and Alfred's like, whoa, it is fantastic. And I know that we don't get a lot of that in movies. Like, I don't think that we get how scary Bat, because a lot of times no offense to Michael Keaton, he's fine. He's like 5'9", right? I always envisioned a sort of like Henry Cavill, like this 6'3" guy, completely ripped. He's able to deadlift like hundreds of pounds. A dude that you just don't want to trifle with. Plus, he's wearing this costume. They don't play up the shadows and the cape enough, so you don't always know where his arms and legs are. You don't exactly know what he's capable of. He's lightning fast like a ninja. It's just all of those elements. This movie is fantastic. So let's just jump to a couple of elements from the trailer. I can't believe this movie is 30 years old. This is the 4K trailer. Look at the cinematography. Look at the beauty of the rain and all of that, setting up this opening sequence where you basically have a counterfeiter. Why did it sound terrible? Counterfeiter running before he's being confronted, which you sort of could be Batman. At least that's his thoughts. It turns out this is Phantasm, and it creates like a cat and mouse chase sequence through a parking garage and such, which leads to a crash. And of course, this is one of the politicians, like Batman's to blame. And I will say this too about the movie. If I had a major criticism, it's that Gordon is sort of like put to the back. Bullock is around a lot, but not because Batman gets blamed for the deaths, right? And of course, Gordon's like, no, he didn't do it. Throws his papers, and then he's really not in the movie much at all after that. Just beautiful imagery and beautiful elaboration of what the animated series does. And you basically have a whole series of basically deaths, and Batman gets blamed. And it's a really fascinating setup. And I will say it also allows for something that the WB didn't really do much with, because they were trying not to have death. Gunplay was fine, but they didn't want to show anybody getting killed. Mask of Phantasm doesn't shy away from some of those kinds of images and things like that. So it actually was kind of nice to see that as well. Again, look at that rain. Turn the sound off. How cinematic, beautiful it is. Anyway, so the flashback that you get is you get Batman piecing together the fact that these groups are all interwoven together with this is the love interest, this is her dad. So it's all set to be like a triangle. Well, I guess there's 4 or 5 people, but it's a dynamic that has come to fruition. It's come to bear, and someone has to pay. Someone has to be accountable for what's happening. And Batman is piecing all that together over the course of this film. And then, of course, he's looking at this photo, and there's a big twist here. Now, if you don't want any spoilers, if you've never seen this, first off, I have no idea what's wrong with you. You need to go watch this film. It's fantastic. If you don't want spoilers, I'm going to stop, because I don't know exactly what the trailer will show us, what it won't. But I don't want you to know if you don't already know. So just go watch this movie cold. Highly recommend it. It is not just a cartoon. It is fantastic. Just fantastic. So Batman's they think he's the villain. They think he's the one that's murdered people, that kind of thing. And of course, the big twist, of course, is Joker backstory as well. Which again, I think this Joker has crazy backstories anyway. The multiple versions of Joker. Well, there's a great line in Killing Joke about it being different every time I remember it. I wish that line had been better fleshed out in Dark Knight. I think I could pull this off of being like an additive for the Joker story as well, being part of the pre-Joker criminal, the gangster, right? But the fact that they worked Joker into this, I have to be honest, as I did my rewatch, not that I didn't know, I've seen this movie. It felt so fresh. It just made me so excited to see the silhouette, to see it come to life, um, and just some great lines. Just to be honest, just some great lines. They don't even bother with thugs in this. It's all about just Joker. He has like some robots at this theme park that's kind of tied into it, but it's all about Phantasm. And then you see Joker against other people, which I think is interesting, not just Batman. Look at how they make the bat signal actually be yellow around it instead of just white in the clouds. And then, of course, this whole battle sequence, and then, of course, the Joker's there as well. So I don't want to spoil any more than that. All I can tell you is this: this is, in my opinion, the best on-screen adaptation of the Batman. I enjoy it. 30 years later, can't believe it's been 30 years already. It's one of the goats, and just can't recommend it enough. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.